using the full force of their militaries.
Nobody's seen anything like it. We have hit hundreds of targets in Iran, including Revolutionary Guard facilities, Iranian air defense systems. Just now, it was announced that we knocked out 9 ships plus their naval building, all in a matter of literally minutes.
Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says our forces are now striking in the heart of Tehran with growing intensity, and this will only increase in the coming days. So far, they've killed dozens of Iranian officials, including the country's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei.
This wretched and vile man had the blood of hundreds and even thousands of Americans on his hands and was responsible for the slaughter of countless thousands of innocent people all across many countries.
Iranians among the many celebrating his death right across the world. But not everyone was thankful. Candlelight vigils were held in Tehran for their leader. Just fully punish the evil regime of Israel and the United States, this man says. Just take revenge. And that is what Iran is vowing to do, striking a synagogue in Israel, killing at least 9 people. Another 6 were injured after a missile hit Jerusalem, striking fear across Israel.
Tired, stressed, feel like we're very over it. It's hard to continue to do this again after the last round.
But I freak out sitting there alone, and I just prefer to be with people and underground.
While Iran is taking aim at America's allies in the region, firing on cities in the UAE. This is a US-run naval base in Bahrain.
I once again urge the Revolutionary Guard, the Iranian military, police, to lay down your arms and receive full immunity or face certain death. It will be certain death. Won't be pretty.
The US announced its first casualties. 3 service members stationed in Kuwait were killed, while at least 5 others were injured.
And sadly, there will likely be more. Before it ends, that's the way it is. Likely be more, but we'll do everything possible. But that won't be the case. But America will avenge their deaths and deliver the most punishing blow to the terrorists who have waged war against basically civilization.
A promise from the president as he calls on the people of Iran to rise up.
To seize this moment, to be brave, be bold, be heroic, and take back your country.
A country at the center of a growing war. Donald Trump has said this war could last for up to 4 weeks, and the unrest is spreading well beyond the Middle East. In Pakistan, at least 20 people have died in protests, including one which erupted outside the US consulate in Karachi, with demonstrators furious about America's involvement in the killing of Iran's supreme leader. We have some more developing news this afternoon as well. A UK military base on the holiday island of Cyprus.
As we come to expect further casualties. What President Donald Trump is saying about potential US deaths in the conflict with Iran, admitting it could continue for 4 to 5 weeks. Middle East turmoil triggering pain at the petrol pump, with oil prices spiking. Fury as a Sydney mosque begins 3 days of prayer for the killed Ayatollah, honouring the dictator. Plus, the 11th hour twist in Zach Lomax's legal battle over his Stormy Eels exit. The party's over in Las Vegas. The NRL returns home after its successful season.
This is 9 News with Deborah Knight.
Good afternoon. We'll begin with those new strikes in the Middle East. Rocket attacks today impacting Israel in retaliation for the killing of Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei. This video filmed in Jerusalem showing Israel's Iron Dome defense system attempting to intercept the onslaught, with some missiles getting through. Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu is now vowing to intensify attacks on Tehran. Correspondent Mimi Courtney Becker is in Israel and leads our coverage.
Israel, the United States and Iran have all launched a new wave of attacks, and it comes after Israeli President Benjamin Netanyahu said that strikes on Tehran will only increase in the coming days. We've seen the Iron Dome put to the test and missiles launched. The Israeli government has confirmed a state of emergency for the next 12 days, and although it's only a couple of days into this conflict, the death toll already continues to rise. Iranian officials say more than 150 people were killed after a strike on a school in southern Iran, but Iran was really quick to fight back, and they hit a residential area just outside of Jerusalem. 9 people were killed there, reportedly sheltering in a bomb shelter there, and it was also a synagogue that was hit. Now, Iran is still managing to fire despite scrambling to rebuild its leadership after the death of Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei.
This assassination would make this confrontation more complicated and even more dangerous. It is absolutely unprecedented and a big violation of international law that a leader of another country is assassinated by foreign forces.
A leadership council will temporarily run the country with a new leader to be picked as soon as possible as this conflict continues. The leaders of the United Kingdom, France and Germany have released a joint statement saying they could use necessary defensive action to support the United States and its allies. A lot of unknowns with this conflict ongoing across the entire region.
3 US service personnel have meanwhile been killed in the conflict, with the US President this afternoon warning that figure could rise significantly. Washington correspondent Lauren Tomasi has the latest.
Surrender or face certain death. That is the message from US President Donald Trump to Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps. The US President making a 6-minute video address to social media, updating the world on Operation Epic Fury. Donald Trump also directly addressing those 3 US soldiers who have now been killed in combat, a further 5 people seriously injured, saying that America will avenge their deaths. Also predicting that further deaths will come. The US President has put a roughly 4-week timeline on this operation, saying the fighting will continue, and we now know that more than 1,000 targets have been hit in Operation Epic Fury. It comes as the US Central Command has released new video today showing a large US strike on the Revolutionary Guard headquarters, saying the attack is to cut off the head of the snake. We know this war on Iran is targeting the nuclear program, its weapons system, and decimating its leadership. Donald Trump saying at least 48 members of Iran's leadership have now been killed, including, as we know, the Ayatollah, who has been watched by the CIA for months, the intelligence agency monitoring his daily patterns and also keeping tabs on senior political leaders.
We cannot allow a nation that raises terrorist armies to possess such weapons, would allow them to extort the world to their evil will. Not going to let it happen.
After watching this operation unfold from his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida, Donald Trump is this afternoon back in Washington, D.C., where the US President will watch on from the White House amidst so much uncertainty across the Middle East.
The UK Prime Minister has addressed the situation, saying his country learned from the mistakes of Iraq and will not join the offensive action now, but the US will be using British military bases.
We have British jets in the air as part of coordinated defensive operations, which have already successfully intercepted Iranian strikes. But the only way to stop the threat is to destroy the missiles at source. The United States has requested permission to use British bases for that specific and limited defensive purpose. We have taken the decision to accept this request.
Sir Keir Starmer also appealing to Iran to refrain from further strikes and to cease its violence against its people. More than 100,000 Australians are in the Middle East, but the federal government is not planning on providing any repatriation flights at this stage. Let's go live. to our federal politics reporter Conor McGovern. So, Conor, what's stopping the Commonwealth Government from bringing Australians home?
Well, Iran's neighbours have closed their airspaces, Deb. That includes Qatar and the UAE, two crucial hubs for global travel. So Australia couldn't really send flights in, even if the government wanted to. The opposition wants military assets used to fly in and out to retrieve our stranded citizens. But Foreign Minister Penny Wong says we need commercial flights to restart before that can be considered. She believes that's the quickest way to get those of the 115,000 Australians who want to come home out of the Middle East. Australian authorities say we had no forewarning of and no involvement in these strikes. In the region, there's more than 100 of our Defence Force personnel, including troops on secondment with the US military.
All of those serving men and women are accounted for and right now are safe. While Australia is not directly involved in current military strikes, we've been clear of our utter rejection of the brutal Iranian regime. We welcome the actions of the US and Israel. We welcome the demise of the Ayatollah.
Today is Angus Taylor's first in Parliament as opposition leader. While over in the Senate, the government moved a motion condemning Pauline Hanson for her comments on Muslim Australians. The senator instead dishing out her own form of punishment.
You know what? You happy? They are? I'm not going to have myself a son. This is a joke.
Deb, Senator Hanson stormed out of the chamber, but that didn't change the result. The government motion still passing, a tool to embarrass the senator more than anything else.
All right, Conor, thank you. The bombings across the Middle East are having a big impact here at home, with the Formula One scrambling to get hundreds of staff to Melbourne ahead of this weekend's Grand Prix. Ollie Haig has that part of the story.
Well, this is the main straight here at Albert Park, and as you can see, the finishing touches are being put. And just a few days out from the main event, there is work happening right around the clock to bring the 2,000 or so F1 staff here from Europe. That is because, of course, of that war that's going on in the Middle East. Now, I understand there's about 500 staff that have been brought to Australia on 3 chartered flights, given those challenges with the airspace above Iran and the UAE and Qatar being closed. But the boss of the Australian Grand Prix Corporation is very confident all the drivers, staff will make it here on time.
They've just had to find another way. And so that's been a process for them. And I'm sure it's been a lot of work on their behalf. And we've had incredible cooperation from Melbourne Airport and others to allow that to happen. And so, yeah, we'll see them all arrive on time.
It comes as we saw the suite of hospitality offerings this year at the Grand Prix, from champagne bars to a large list of food offerings. There's even an American Express lounge where you can get all sorts of pampering, from a beauty lounge with Mecca inside. There's, of course, plenty of options for alcohol as well.
There's 2 things that Melbourne does incredibly well, and it's live sport and food. And to have the 2 together on the same stage is always super exciting.
Now, most of the event is now sold out over the weekend. However, there is still a small amount of tickets available on the Thursday, starting from $45. And this all comes as organisers are expecting it to be an absolutely massive Australian Grand Prix here at Albert Park after last year's 465,000 attended over 4 days.
Coming up on 9's afternoon.